proposal to deport 11 million undocumented immigrants, he said it would cause the collapse of the farming industry. That's obviously something of major concern.
People can come, they can come with visas, they come right back in. In other words, people can come back in with visas.
So you don't buy that critique?
Look, we either have a country or not. These are illegal people. There are at least 11 million. Nobody knows. Could be 30 million. But there are at least 11 million. I've been hearing that number for years, so it's probably wrong. Could be less, could be more. But they can come back in. They can come back in with visas. They can come back in with work permits. They can be worker permits. They can come back in. But, I mean, like we have corporate inversion where tremendous amounts of money wants to come back into the country. It's impossible. Everybody agrees.
Well, you're talking about Trump as an era, the Trump administration bringing in an era of bipartisanship. That seems to be the implication you're making.
I absolutely think so. You know, a lot of people think, well, I'm sort of a tough guy and I'm going to divide. I actually think I'm a really nice person.
You better believe that I hate the people that took this girl and raped her brutally. You better believe it. And it's more than anger, it's hatred. And I want society to hate them.
Just this week, Trump said he still considers the men, again, exonerated by the criminal justice system and by DNA scientific evidence, guilty. Issuing a statement saying, quote, they admitted they were guilty. The police doing the original investigation say they were guilty. The fact that case was settled with so much evidence against them is outrageous. The woman, so badly injured, will never be the same.
But some people say, oh, he's tough. I'm going to unify.
And the crime and the gangs and the drugs, this American carnage.
This country is totally divided.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
Okay, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't. Bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. They say, we want deal. He'd jump out of the seat.
People come back from war and combat, and they see things that maybe a lot of the folks in this room have seen many times over, and you're strong and you can handle it, but a lot of people can't handle it.
Barack Obama has divided this country unbelievably.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
And it's all hatred.
You guys aren't usually this quiet, are you? Are you really? No. What's your name? Oh, nice to see you. I like that hairdo, man. Can I touch that? Wow. It's got a spiky. Your hair's short. Yeah, mine too. There, you want to? Hey, what's your name?
What can I tell you? I've never seen anything like it. Now,
Donald Trump is a disgusting fraud. By any definition, Donald Trump is a disgusting fraud. He started this silliness years ago by saying that President Obama is not an American citizen. He had no proof of it. And so he started this disgusting behavior 7 or 8 years ago, questioning the president's citizenship.
The person that interviews you goes right for the birth certificate issue, which, by the way, you did win.
I did.
And
he released it.
They finally...
Whatever it was he released. You know, some people don't know what it was that he released, and I'm not sure what he released, but...
There's one line called place of birth. I'd like to see what he said.
A lot of people want me to talk about place of birth. You saw this audience. Probably the biggest hand I got was when I mentioned place of birth.
Many people do not think it was authentic. His mother was not in the hospital. There were many other things that came out.
Okay, I thought the birth issue was established, that you were satisfied.
I wasn't satisfied. I never said I was satisfied. I never told you that I was satisfied. I want to see, excuse me, who's satisfied?
You don't still question that he was born in the United States, do you?
I have no idea.
Even at this point?
Well, I don't know. Was it a birth certificate? You tell me. You know, some people say that was not his birth certificate. I'm saying I don't know. Nobody knows. And you don't know either, Jonathan. You're a smart guy. You don't know either.
Going back a few years, do you regret questioning President Obama's citizenship? Why or why not?
Not even a little bit. I don't regret it. Why would I regret it?
But he is a citizen. He produced that long-form birth certificate.
Well, a lot of people don't agree with you, and a lot of people feel it wasn't a proper certificate.
You, almost single-handedly, were out there
questioning President Obama's background. You said, how can you not show a birth certificate?
Right. But Trump comes along and said, birth certificate. He gave a birth certificate. Whether or not that was a real certificate, because a lot of people question it, I certainly question it.
And it turned out to not be true.
Well, I don't know. According to you, it's not true. I don't know.
He released his birth certificate.
You know, if you believe that is not Muslim. I really don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't release his records.
Born his birth certificate.
Who knows about Obama?
His mother was a U.S. citizen, born in Kansas. Was he a natural-born citizen?
Who knows? Who knows? Who cares?
Do you think your birther position has hurt you among African Americans?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even talk about it anymore. But I don't know. I guess with maybe some. I don't know why. I'm going to unify the country.
Donald Trump is nothing more than a two-bit racial arsonist who for decades has done nothing but fan the flames of bigotry and hatred.
And sometimes I'll say that people say, well, but the people that know me, and I'm talking about some of the biggest people in the world, they call up, they say,
power can be very addictive, and it can be corrosive, and it's important for the media to call to account people who abuse their power.
It's right. I've seen it.
This is our calling to African Americans and the diversity of America, women included, Hispanics, Asians, and others, religious diversity as well. That if you view America as a land of value and equality and justice.
And I should be given credit because in 2003, I came out with a major statement, front page all over the place. I don't know why, because I was just a businessman. I wasn't a politician. But that we shouldn't go into Iraq because it's going to totally destabilize the Middle East.
Includes an audio clip of what appears to be you on Howard Stern.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
Is that accurate? Do you remember saying that?
No, and that Iran is going to end up taking over Iraq, which is, by the way, exactly after spending $2 trillion, thousands of lives, wounded warriors who I love all over the place.
How would you answer that, Father? What sacrifice have you made for your country?
I think I made a lot of sacrifices, tens of thousands of jobs, built great structures.
Those are sacrifices?
Oh, sure, I think they're sacrifices.
Captain Khan was 27 years old. He cannot emphasize enough how deeply I disagree with Mr. Trump's statement, said 2008 nominee John McCain. Aaron Meredith's son, First Lieutenant Ken Ballard, was just 26 when he was killed in Iraq.
Don't know that he has the capability of understanding what it is to lose a child. I haven't cried in a long time about my son, and I hate to admit it. I hate to give him that much power over me, but I cried.
Ogar was killed in Afghanistan in 2008. His 3 tours of duty also included Iraq.
You know, Donald Trump, I'm sure you've seen his comments. What did you make of how he described Mrs. Khan and her standing there?
It deeply saddened me. I felt like my son died for the ideal that this country holds, and especially a family who's given the ultimate sacrifice.
Iran's taking over Iraq as we speak. And by the way, what they don't have, ISIS has. But we shouldn't have left the way we left. And if you remember, and I told you very early on, if we're going to leave, take the oil. The old expression, to the victor belong the spoils. You remember I always used to say, keep the oil.
Notion about taking the oil, keeping the oil, you know, it's, as Barbara said, that could potentially violate international law.
It does. It doesn't. I mean, we have to have throw your hands up in the air moment. I mean, it violates international law, violates U.S. law, violates U.S. policy for decades. I mean, in World War II, you know, was the payback for the U.S. helping Europe fight off the Nazis that we took away art, you know, from there, or I don't know, you know, whatever. It's just ridiculous, and it was a ridiculous statement at the CIA, and for the press secretary to not be able to walk that back. I mean, is he suggesting that you go back, send your soldiers, and take the oil away from our allies, the Iraqis? I mean, these are Iraqi natural resources that feed the Iraqi people, right?
Because right now, you know who has the oil, and you know who's buying the oil is China. They don't have 10 cents in this whole deal, and they're buying the oil. They're the biggest customer. But you have the oil going to ISIS, and you have the oil going to Iran, and Iran will end up with most of it, and ISIS will have plenty because they've got plenty of money because they took the oil, because we were stupid. And I said, take the oil when we leave. But we shouldn't have really left. We shouldn't have gone in, but then we shouldn't have left. So Bush shouldn't have gotten us in, and Obama shouldn't have taken us out the way he took us out. And the other thing, unpredictability. He's so predictable. When he took us out, he shouldn't have said we're going as of a certain date, because the enemy just sat back and waited, full strength, nobody being killed, everything fine. Trump doctrine is very simple, Jake. It's strength. It's strength. Nobody's going to mess with us. Our military is going to be made much stronger. When General Orellano left, I was watching him 3 or 4 weeks ago on television, where he said that the Army is in the worst level of preparedness that it's ever been, that he can ever remember, and maybe in its history. I said, wow, what a statement.
But you also recently said that the Middle East would be better off with Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, and Assad in power. How does...
I didn't say Assad, but we certainly have not gained anything with Gaddafi. And you look at what happened. I mean, look at Libya. Look at Iraq. Iraq used to be no terrorists. He would kill the terrorists immediately. It was like, now it's the Harvard of terrorism, Iraq. If you look at Iraq from years ago, I'm not saying he was a nice guy, he was a horrible guy, but it was a lot better than it is right now. Right now, Iraq is a training ground for terrorists. Right now, Libya, nobody even knows Libya. Frankly, there is no Iraq and there is no Libya. It's all broken up. They have no control. Nobody knows what's going on.
So the world would be better off with Saddam Hussein
100%.
And Gaddafi in power?
100%. As far as Assad is concerned.
What about the human rights abuses?
Let's talk. Well, you don't think they're happening now? They're worse now than they ever were. People are getting their heads chopped off. They're being drowned. Right now, they're far worse than they were ever under Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi. I mean, look what happened. Libya's a catastrophe. You look at our ambassador as an example, okay?
Mr. Trump, thanks so much for spending the time talking to us today.
Thank you very much.